So, tell me about this. Tell me about this mallet here.
This is my air hockey mallet that I use in competition these days. Over the years, I've had different mallets, and this is the one I'm currently using. My mallets have generally had the characteristic of being hard mallets. They allow me to hit the puck harder with less effort.
Sure.
And I like them hard. And it's a kind of a cross between a flat mallet and a high top mallet. It doesn't have a high sombrero,
Right.
but it's got a little knob.
Sure, a
there.
little knob. So this was cut off?
Yes, this was
Okay.
actually manufactured. It wasn't cut off. It was manufactured by a plastics company here in Houston that Mike Berry discovered.
Oh, neat.
And they made several of these black mallets, special material.
And so you've got all of this flesh-covered padding. What is that?
Yes, this is something new that I invented after over 30 or 40 years of air hockey.
Yeah.
I invented this recently this summer. This is sort of rubbery tape.
Yeah.
And it's not for padding, it's to hook your fingers in. Once I put my fingers in there, the elasticity is clamping my fingers in, so I can I can't lose the mallet.
That's neat.
And so, whereas
Very cool.
these other mallets, you just
Sure.
can't do that.
Sure.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So I like that, and I'm learning it. I'm
Sure.
learning how to do it. It feels very comfortable.
Yeah, that's neat. And
You gotta dig in deep.
Yeah.
In there deep.
Oh yeah, I gotta really I gotta get my
and put
fingers
you in there and let it clamp you.
Oh, it clamps.
amazing.
Oh, I
Hold you.
it just Oh, I like it.
It's the future
Yeah, the future of air hockey.
because you
Okay.
can shoot, above
Yeah.
the table or on the table.
Okay. So, just say who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, I'm Phil Arnold, living here in Houston for many years, but originally from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Dad was in the Air Force, so we wound up in Texas, San Antonio, with the high school there, and but been in Houston, the education business, teaching, and
Sure.
playing air hockey.
Yeah. And what do you do for a living?
Well, I was in teaching, as I said, at the University of Houston,
Yeah.
and taught English as a second language,
Right.
and also taught history.
Yeah.
But really, I work mostly for nonprofits. I do fundraising and development. I'm a director of some nonprofit organizations. Most of them are educational organizations. So I'm interested in reaching people, the community, and of course it spills over into air hockey, where we're building a community of players of all ages. We work together, play together.
Sure.
We run our events together.
Sure. Yeah. So, how did you discover air hockey?
Well, it was back years ago. Air hockey was invented in it really appeared publicly in 1973, I believe, the very early 70s. And I was at the University of Houston with a high school girlfriend. And we saw the first air hockey table at the University of Houston was there that evening. I think they had just put it in. We did not know what it was. We walked up to it. In those days, it didn't really have a center line. It just was a blue surface. And we thought maybe it was something to do with maybe music. Maybe you could plug it into the wall and it would play music.
Sure.
We didn't know what it was.
Sure.
It was just a blue rectangular box.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, like a jukebox on its side.
Yeah.
And someone at the recreation room desk said to us, "The bats are over here."
The bats. Oh.
So we turned to look, and there were these mallets there.
Yeah.
He handed us 2 mallets. He said, "Put a quarter in it, and you can play a game." So we did, and my girlfriend Christine, she beat me my first game I ever played. But I really liked it. I found that my mind could focus on nothing else except watching the puck and playing the game. And it was relaxing in that way. You couldn't think about problems or schoolwork or anything.
Sure.
And that's what was my first game.
Discovery.
But it was just a game.
Sure.
It took about another, well, I got wanting to play it, so I would play it during lunch breaks at the university,
Yeah.
and sometimes skipping class. But eventually it got to a point where I thought, well, this is a game, but it's like table tennis. They're playing table tennis next to us,
Right.
and that has rules and tournaments. Maybe we could make some rules for this game because there were no rules. Remember, the company Brunswick just presented it as a game.
Here
they
you
didn't
go.
give us any rules,
Right, yeah.
And we didn't know where to stand, whether to use two hands or one hand or what.
Sure.
So we began to develop these rules. So it became a group of players who liked it, and
Sure.
we began to talk about how the rules should be.
So, in that time when you discovered it, you see this table, this magical, mythical, unknown object in front of you. Back in those moments, in those first few weeks, do you have any memories that stick with you? Anything that really comes to mind?
Well, yes, I remember dawning on me that it could be a sport. And I began to because I played all sports in my life.
Sure.
And I began to realize, well, this makes sense. There are ways this could be structured into an actual sport. And but I do remember someone said to me, "Why don't you play in the clubs? You like this game so much. Why don't you go to the clubs?" And I thought, clubs? Maybe they were talking about air hockey clubs have already been formed, like soccer clubs.
Right.
And he said, "No, I mean like music clubs."
Sure.
So I said, "Really?" So he told me the name of a couple of clubs, and I went there, and that's where I saw people playing seriously, and there were quarters on the table. Cost a quarter to play.
That's right.
And people would line up their quarters and play, and we would wait for our quarter to come in turn, and then we would go up there and we would play at that time.
Yeah.
That stays in my mind because
Okay.
that's when you met all these different players, women, guys, girls.
Yeah. You saw Rolf Moore probably, and
there was
Jim
Rolf
Carter.
Moore, and Jim Carter, and Kelly Weaver, and many of these players.
Sure.
Sherry Housey.
Yeah. So, is air hockey, well, I say was, your first passion pursuit, or is it just one of many passion pursuits?
I've always liked games.
Yes.
Even in high school, I loved paper football.
Yes.
We'd play it in the mornings.
Yeah.
Played at night.
You've shown me,
Yeah, we did that. So I always liked games, and I played a lot of flag football as a kid in the Air Force Base with other Air Force bases coming over. Idea of games and trying to get the games to be right. I liked that. My favorite game growing up was wiffle ball. Played a lot of wiffle ball, backyard plastic ball.
Yeah.
And so the idea of gaming, I like contests and competition. And the air hockey was a brand new world, and it was like jumping in a big blue lake, with no ripples. And you could swim any way or splash it any way you wanted to, and it was fun because it was new territory.
Yeah.
And so it was really my first real passion
project.
Yeah, the others gaming is interesting.
Right.
But this became really a passion because I saw the potential
Sure.
for me, but for generations to come that would enjoy playing it.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering about air hockey, passion project, passion pursuit, and it has been probably a through line for your whole life, a thread that has been consistent. Does that compare to anything else?
Well, in my life, it's true that air hockey has been a steady river flowing through my life.
Yes.
Of course, people have wondered why. Parents have said, "Well, are you still playing that? And why don't you be doing more of this?
Something else,
Yeah. And so, but yes, it always has been because I see the value in it. I mean, not only do I love it, I love the competition. I want to be the best in the world. I have been the best in the world at one time in the 80s.
Yeah.
So that has driven me, but it's not just about me. It's a great sport, and other people deserve to play it around the world. It creates unity because people, men, women, genders, we can all play together, boys and girls. So it's got that special quality to it, like that. But yes, I would say maybe another passion I've had is reading and learning. Questions of history, literature, philosophy, that type of thing is a passion also.
Yeah. Okay. What does air hockey mean to you?
Air hockey means to me a sport where people can compete, and a place where you develop character, a place that reveals to yourself your true self. It reveals. So air hockey as a sport will show you who you are. And it will show you who your friends are. And because it puts you under so much, at high levels of competition, it puts you in, it's a little microcosm, and you get into it and you're playing, and it's so intense, and it pushes you
Sure.
and puts you under stress to the point that you begin to see your own flaws, your own weaknesses, and you try to overcome them. So air hockey means it's self-revelatory, and you can learn about your friends, their strengths, their weaknesses, their vices.
Yeah.
All these things come out, eventually, if it's too hot to handle, you quit.
Right.
So some people just can't take seeing their weaknesses. And what I mean by that, you play a sport really hard. In air hockey, you can do it without having to go outside and play with 10 other guys in football.
Sure.
So you can do this in other sports too.
Sure.
But the thing about air hockey, it's a microcosm. It's so concise. It's right in front of you, a table with one other person.
Yes.
And you're playing in your great intensity, and you begin to see yourself. And some people just can't stand seeing themselves. And so they quit. They just play for fun, which is fine.
Yeah.
But those of us who go into a higher professional level, we do have to deal with these things that come out. And we try to help our friends to overcome. It hurts to lose. You get tired. There's self-doubts that can come up.
Yeah.
All these things. And it's great for children, for teaching them principles of living, sportsmanship, and character building.
Yeah, so air hockey means a chance to see who we are.
Yes, air hockey shows us who we are. It's revelatory.
Yes.
It's self-revelation.
Yes.
Some people go to church for
And
self-revelation. Some people read books,
Sure.
self-help books. Some people have a mate that tells them. But air hockey will show you who you are.
And I'm guessing that's important to you.
Yes, it is. It's important for me to know who I am.
Okay.
And because, as Aristotle said, the unexamined life is not worth living.
Okay.
So to examine yourself and to know yourself is very important in this short span that we live.
Sure.
And it allows us to tap into the potential we have and to heighten it and to develop it so that we're moving toward a greater goals.
Right, to improve ourselves. Because we find what is revealed to us might be something that is lacking. We may see, like you mentioned, a person doesn't want to see that there is this part of them that weak. I know that's not the best word, but it could be improved. Maybe they have a vice. Maybe maybe they lie to themselves. And it'd be better if they didn't.
Right.
And by just facing that in the sport in air hockey, they could develop or change.
Yes, I think that's true.
So speaking of change, has air hockey changed you?
I think air hockey has changed me in that it's made me more aggressive. When I played other sports, I was always good at them, and I didn't have to try that hard, and I didn't have to necessarily be aggressive. Like in table tennis, I would play a defensive game, and I could get to the ball very well, and I played great defense. It was fun. In football, I could catch the passes. But I find in air hockey, it's taught me to assert myself more, to take control of the situation at the high levels we're playing. So that has revealed to me that possibility, and I needed to develop that. And I did develop it. And so now I find in business that I can apply that principle.
Yes.
I'm not intimidated by something that comes along like that may be too hard for me, or that guy really is tough.
Sure.
What do I say? Yeah. Well, I've been there. I've done that in the sport.
Right.
And now I can face that in the academic world. If someone wants to debate a subject, I don't just lay back. I can assert myself too.
Yeah.
And it's acceptable to do that.
Of course.
It's sportsmanship, even in business or in debate.
Yeah.
But I had to learn that lesson.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. That's wonderful that air hockey provided an arena, an experience for you to learn that about yourself and then develop it and apply it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right, and that's true. And And the way I was brought up, my dad was very controlling and
Okay.
authoritative. He was a military man.
Right.
And he was a little intimidating and controlling. And
You need to
and
just
I,
follow
and I-
follow the rules.
Yeah, so I kind of learned to circumvent it
Right.
by being indirect.
Right. More
And
passive.
So I've been a little, and I would. It wasn't so passive. I wouldn't do what I wanted to do. I did what I wanted to do, but I kind of did it indirectly.
Right.
And if people didn't
Right, and
like it, it was too bad.
Right, and what I mean by passive is I don't mean it in the sense of that you would not do what you wanted to do, but passive in the sense that you would not directly assert yourself.
Right.
You would just go around the back door.
That's right, and get it done.
Right.
But now with air hockey, I've learned more to be, direct.
Okay.
I'm shooting the
Nice.
straight shot.
Right.
I'm going to shoot it.
Yes.
You're going to have to stop me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's good. So, all right, so I want you to imagine for a moment that we have the attention of the world. We've been wanting it. We want to know, we want the world to know about air hockey. They're all looking at us and they're listening. What does the world need to know about air hockey?
The world is suffering under a delusion. They think that air hockey is a game, and it is a fun
Sure,
game.
sure,
For mothers, you see them playing with their sons
Sure.
and their daughters, and they're
Yeah.
having a lot of fun. So
Sure, sure.
we don't want to take that away.
Yeah.
That's wonderful to see. And fathers playing with their 8-year-old daughter on the air hockey table, and they can do that in air hockey. They can't do that in ping pong because the ball goes off the table after a couple of shots. The mother doesn't want to chase the ball all over the room.
Sure.
With a child, playing it. But with air hockey, the puck stays on the table and you're hitting it back and forth. And they can do that for 5, 10, 15 minutes
Right.
and get to enjoy that game together. So that's a beautiful thing. So that's pretty much what people are thinking about air hockey. It may be on a date night at a movie and they play air hockey and it's fun. What they don't understand is air hockey is a high level sport that is much like, I think you yourself have said, much like chess in fast motion, where you're playing a game where you have to have your intellect to plan a strategy, you have to have your physical ability to carry out the strategy, then you have to have your will to execute that strategy and use that athletic talent. And so all that is available in the experience of air hockey. So I would invite people who are perhaps aware of air hockey, but
Sure.
have never really looked at it deeply, to look at some of the recordings that are available on the internet and see how people are playing it as a sport, and then to give that a try, maybe to find a tournament in your area and just come out and enjoy it as a game, but also see it as a sport. And I think if they did that, they would see that it's an arena where people can develop. And of course, the codes that we follow are all based on chivalry. This is a chivalrous type of sport.
Sure.
We are honorable. We play fairly, but we play hard, and we teach the importance of winning.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I like that. Okay, a couple of fun questions to wrap up on. What is your best shot?
Well, I'm known for my cut shot. Cut shot is a slice shot. You have them in tennis where you slice the ball. You have it in other sports where you put kind of spin on it. And I do have a cut shot. And every cut shot can be delivered in different ways. But the one I'm famous for is my cut serve, which means I pull the puck out of the goal and I cast it with my left hand, and then my right hand will hit the puck. Think of the puck as a clock face, 12, 3, 6, and 9. Normally you would hit the puck around 7 o'clock
Got it.
clock face. But for the cut shot, you want to slice it over here around 5 o'clock. So the puck is coming out straight, your hand's hitting it at 5, the puck's going that direction. So that's what I'm famous for, is a fast cut serve.
And I get that's what you're famous for. Is that your best shot?
Yes, I think that's my best shot.
It's your best shot. Okay.
Yeah, but I have plans for future shots.
Well, and that leads
But
to
that
my
is
next.
that's
my next question.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So magically, the universe is going to gift you a single shot that is championship level that you do not currently have. What shot would you like?
one tries all shots in one's life.
Yes.
So one's done double banks,
Sure,
triple banks,
sure.
overs, unders, all that kind of thing, two-handed shots. But let's say what I really would like to have, there's two ways to answer that. There are shots currently available, and maybe there's 10 shots currently available that are used by the best players. I have maybe 6 or 7 of them.
Okay.
But out of those current shots, I would like to have a much better right wall over.
Yes.
I would really like to have a nice right wall that goes over the opponent's mallet, not
Yeah,
just
I
under.
understand that.
I would like to have that off the
Okay.
right rail, from anywhere on the table.
Right.
Preferably from the middle of the table.
Sure,
would
sure.
be good. You have that. Danny has that.
I don't have that.
Some of the great players
Danny
have
has
that.
that. I don't have that.
Danny has that.
Yes, Danny is the one who revolutionized
Yeah.
the way that came into the sport.
And once you get that shot, even if you miss it,
opens
the
a lot.
defense jumps.
Sure, sure. Okay.
But the shot that the future is going to bring me.
You want that one.
The one, yeah.
You want the one that has not been revealed yet.
Yes.
Okay.
And people have tried it, but there's just, people have simulated this great shot.
Yeah.
And that it's like a shadow. They kind of got the shadow. But
Yeah.
the real shot of the future that I'm trying to get the future to bring me
Sure.
is the forehand cut.
Oh, yes.
Where, in other words, I've got the backhand cut. And I think most...
You have a forehand cut, but you're wanting it at championship level.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I have a backhand cut, as I just said on the
Right.
on the serve.
Yeah.
And I think my cut serve is better than anybody else's
Okay.
ever.
Yeah.
On the cut serve.
Right.
And so the forehand cut is nowhere near as good as my backhand
Right.
cut. And not for anybody. No
No,
one in the history
no,
of
it's
air
hard.
hockey
It's
has
hard.
ever had a super great
Right.
forehand cut shot, because if you try it, you can't get any power on it.
Right.
Because it's
And
just so
to get
different.
enough power, you have to use a lot of arm, and then it's not as accurate.
That's right.
Okay.
And it's a real difficult.
Sure.
But I have been sort of, privately and secretly, sort of an esoteric thing I've been doing with it. And I've communicated with the future. And I see that the great players of the future will not be one-dimensional like we are. Look at us.
Yeah.
We're playing with one hand.
Right.
We're not using the left hand for anything.
Yeah.
And we're doing the one hand like this 80% of the time.
Yeah.
But what about this? Look at Jimmy Connors, Board,
Yeah.
all these great tennis players, the Williams sisters. They're using the forehand and the backhand. Why are we? Well, we're stuck in a rut. But the future, I can just see what's going to happen in 5 or
Okay.
6 years. They're going to be super forehanders who are going to be mixing up the backhand and the forehand. So what I'm trying to do is to anticipate it. No, I won't be able to be as good as they're going to be, but I can at least show it, and I can make it come a little
Okay.
quicker,
Yeah.
because people will see what
I
I'm showing
understand.
them is
Yeah.
coming.
Well-
And that will bring the future.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, I like that. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
I agree with you that the forehand is underutilized in air hockey, and I would love to see more players use it again. They used to, but it's it's fallen by the wayside.
But what I do know for sure, and I'd like to make this something that the whole world will recognize, the future will bring a player who will defeat Colin. So we have to ask ourselves, what will that player be doing? He will be doing some things that
Or
you
she.
did. Or she, exactly. They will be doing things that you've done. They'll be doing the cut serve. They'll be doing things Jesse did. They'll be doing things Danny did, Jose did, Pedro Otero, a great player from South America. They'll be doing things Collins did. And then they'll be doing things that no one is doing. They'll be unique to them. They're out there right now. We just don't know who they are or where they are.
Right.
But they're there,
Sure.
and they're coming. And so what I'm trying to do is to imagine what they'll be doing.
Sure.
Because it's going to take an amazing player.
So forehand cut is what you told me.
Forehand cut, but that's one of
Yes.
that's one of the, that's one you might say that's one arrow in the quiver that they will bring.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Phil. I have much respect for you and what you've done for the sport, for the community. I wish you great success in this tournament as well as more to come.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks
I'm
for-
ready to get in there and play good hard air hockey.
Okay. All right. Thanks.